Spokane Police Department!
Ahead on Up with KREM, how police evacuated thousands of people from the Spokane area fires, plus resources for people who lost everything.
Plus today we're under a weather impact alert as we are going to be faced with the risk of fire danger, gusty winds, dry conditions, and the threat of dry lightning. The details ahead.
And lots of opportunities to get out and enjoy your weekend. We'll let you know about some of the events happening across the inland Northwest today. Well, good morning here on Up with KREM. Happy Saturday and kickoff to the weekend. It's going to be a hot weekend, which is why we are going straight to weather today. We have Jenny Power in studio. Jenny, tell us what we should expect for our Saturday.
Yeah, hey there, Regan. Temperatures are going to be climbing this afternoon, and what we're also being faced with is the risk here of increased fire danger. So what you need to know for the day today is we saw an incoming system move through, and it's moving through as we speak, delivering with it some elevated winds, still dry conditions across much of the region as we really haven't seen any measurable rain here for the last month or so. And on top of that, we are seeing the chances for some isolated thunderstorms where, unfortunately, we're not looking at any wetting rains. We're looking at the threat of some dry lightning. So this is put together by the Storm Prediction Center, showing some of the areas, particularly over toward North Idaho and western Montana, that have the greatest chances of seeing some of that isolated to scattered thunderstorm activity. Winds start to pick up as we move into this afternoon and early evening. Gusts between about 25 to 40 miles per hour. So we need to be extra fire weather aware because new fires could unfortunately be started by dry lightning. And then we could also see just any existing fires being impacted by these elevated winds. Temperatures this afternoon were in the low 90s for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, so still above average, but not quite as hot as what we got to yesterday afternoon. But I'm fully timing out this incoming system in just a few minutes. Regan?
Jenny, thank you so much. We'll take a look at this body camera footage. It shows us how crews were working to evacuate people during the Spokane area fires. City officials say some 65,000 people were evacuated on August 1st. That's roughly a quarter of the population of Spokane. And KREM 2's Mark Hanrahan spoke with one of the first police officers who started evacuating people.
As the Old Trails fire tore through neighborhoods in northwest Spokane, police officers, including Kyle Gale,
so it got hectic fast,
began going door to door, starting with the homes that were already on fire or about to be.
We were going down roads that were actively on fire, approaching homes that were actively on fire. One that I went to almost got trapped at. Happened to a lot of officers as well. You know, everyone was putting their own well-being aside, making sure they get to homes.
He says they organized 4-person teams, assigned them to an area or neighborhood to clear, and they got to work. A sprint turned marathon. The evacuations went on for hours.
And every single person on the team, without saying it, was sprinting door to door. You know, move their car a little bit, sprint door to door, knocking on doors, make sure people had, you know, the information that, you know, their homes and lives could be in danger if they stayed in the area and whatnot.
All said and done, law enforcement and firefighters evacuated an estimated 65,000 people on August 1st. That includes patients at the VA hospital and people in adult care homes. When STA buses ran out of room, he says he used his squad car to get people out.
I went by myself to another adult family home. I took 2 of them in my car plus a caregiver along with wheelchairs and walkers and stuff. Like, well, we can't stay, we got to make it work. Like, the STA buses were already full, trying to help other people go. So I was like, I have empty seats, let's get you out of here.
Kyle says he spent between 6 to 8 hours evacuating people on that shift, and at one point says he nearly got trapped himself while checking on an elderly woman whose home had already caught fire.
Yeah, the smoke just made it so you couldn't see, you know, so took a little bit to get out of there, but it ended up all right.
He says the woman he was looking for had already left. She, along with everybody else, escaped the flames. To date, authorities say they haven't received any reports of people dying in the fires.
So no loss of life, I think, just really is a testament to all the organizations around here and how we're one team and work together.
Happening today, the Salvation Army of Spokane is partnering with Old Navy to help students impacted by the Spokane area fires. Affected students will get to shop for back-to-school clothes at a heavy discount. Families get a 50% store-wide discount, and each kid will get a $300 gift card. This is at the Old Navy Off Division. You do have to register. Just call the number on your screen and leave a message with your address and number of school-age children living there. Well, we have some good news to share this morning about tools to schools. Volunteers will be giving out about 1,500 backpacks this weekend. They spent the week prepping the backpacks to go to area schools. We had volunteers from dozens of companies and organizations showing up to help, and we just can't say thank you enough to everyone who took time to help out. So today, those backpacks are going to site coordinators. They'll get them to students in need.
Oh, it's incredibly rewarding when you see that smile. I had one little girl come by and I got to put her backpack on her and I held her hand and took her around to each table, and just watching her face light up and being able to put those supplies into her backpack, knowing I'm providing a service that a family is in deep need of, is incredibly rewarding. So it's very, very beneficial.
And another 1,500 backpacks will be delivered to 4 schools on Monday and Tuesday that were most impacted by the Spokane area wildfires. The Tools to Schools campaign hopes to serve about 3,000 kids total this year, and we will continue to keep collecting donations for Tools to Schools at Spokane Office Depot locations so that we can serve even more kids throughout this next year. Well, it's officially the weekend. Woo! So we're looking for something fun to do, or are you looking for something fun to do? We've got you covered in your weekend What's Up. Do you want to be a part of a world record? Well, folks in Lewiston are going for the world's longest line of Philly cheesesteaks. This is pretty cool. Today at 11 a.m., tickets are just $10 and include a foot-long Philly cheesesteak served from the hopefully record-breaking sandwich. That sounds very filling, but very delicious. Also, Pullman's National Lentil Festival is going on today. The festival serves up a full sensory experience of flavor and community. There's also some live performances that all kicks off at noon. Fun fact, the Palouse used to be known as the lentil capital of the world. And today is Airway Heights Day. Woo-hoo! I am a West Plains person, so bring the summer to a close with all-day excitement at Sunset Park. There is a car show, live music, kids activities, vendors, cornhole, a beer garden, and so much more to enjoy. And the doggy dip is back this weekend. It's time to let the dogs out and enjoy a fun day at the pool while raising funds for Spokaneable. So here's the schedule. Shadow Park today from 3 to 4:30 p.m. and Comstock tomorrow from 3 to 4:30 p.m. It's $10, and they have to be up to date on their rabies vaccination. And the Idaho Trail Association is fixing up a stretch of trail connected to Trestle Ridge today and tomorrow at 9 a.m. and they need your help. No experience needed. It will be some light saw work and brushing. Also, when you sign up, you'll be entered to win a pair of St. Joe River Cruise tickets. Very cool. And calling all student entrepreneurs, the Youth Business Market is this morning at 9:30. Students grades K through 12 will showcase their creativity, launch real businesses, and sell their products or services. You can help shape the future of businesses. It's free to attend at the Center Place Event Center. And we've got even more weekend events to tell you about coming up. How your swing at golf could help families impacted by the Spokane area fires. Plus, do you have a student heading back to school? Well, the dangerous technology you need to know about, that's coming up next.
Those items, while individually aren't very expensive, when you're serving around 19,000 students, that adds up a lot.
The Spokane fires impacted thousands of families in our area, and the community has really stepped up to help. This morning, Corinne Michelli from Multicare here to talk to us about a fundraiser they're hosting this weekend. Good morning. Thanks for being here. You know, I love hearing these stories of how so many are stepping up to help our neighbors in need. Tell us more about this golf tournament that's happening for Multicare.
Yeah, so this was our first year, our first opportunity to have this golf tournament. And when the fires happened, we chose to pivot to support our nearly 600 staff staff who've been impacted by the fire.
Wow, 600 impacted.
Yeah.
So tell us more about the golf tournament. How can people get involved and what can they expect?
Yeah, it's Saturday, August 22nd. Registration opens at 7, shotgun start at 8. We still have spots for some players, so we have about 20 spots available. Looking for volunteers. And if you can't make it, there's also an opportunity to donate to support our staff as well.
So you work with the foundation. Tell us a little bit more about what the foundation does outside of this support that you're offering.
Yeah, so our role at the foundation is to ensure exceptional care, and we do that through generosity supported by the community, and care close to home is really important to us, and this is just a great opportunity to support those who support us every day.
Tell us about some of the stories that you're hearing from how multi-care employees were impacted. You know, these employees care for patients year-round, and now they need some care. What are some of the stories you've heard from your coworkers?
It's just that the care didn't stop.
Yeah.
I think that's what's been so miraculous. They still show up every day to care for our community, and this is going to be a long journey. As we all know, it's not going to be better tomorrow.
Sure.
So this is just a great way to show support and rally around those who take care of us.
Absolutely.
So that care can continue to happen.
One more time, tell us how people can get involved with the golf tournament or support.
Yeah, so there should be a QR code. You can register. That's got all of our information about the event, my contact information there, and then as well if you'd like to make a donation.
All right, Corinne, thanks so much and good luck at the tournament this weekend.
So grateful. Thank you.
And coming up today, we're under a weather impact alert as we are going to be facing some widespread fire danger risk.
Well, a back-to-school warning for parents and children. Be careful what you put online. AI makes it easy to alter photos with free apps. Nearly half of teenagers have seen digitally altered nude pictures of themselves, and some law enforcement officers say most school districts are ill-equipped to deal with these issues. Jolene Kent reports.
Students nationwide are grappling with a new reality. A recent study found that while 2/3 of teens fear being deepfaked without their consent, 1 in 5 admit to making AI pornography, and 1 in 4 have shared it or know someone who has.
In just the last few years, we've seen a rapid sophistication in how these tools are being used.
Michelle DeLon is the president and CEO of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
How many reports are you getting of these things happening?
We're receiving thousands of reports every quarter. Just in the last 2 to 3 years, we have seen a rapid spike in these types of cases, and each year it exceeds what we saw the year prior.
So where can you find these apps that can take an innocent photo and sexualize it? Turns out they don't live in the deepest corners of the dark web. We found more than a dozen in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store.
Using AI-generated images of an adult woman and man, we tested 70 AI photo editing apps. 19 created disturbing images and videos, including nudity. Remember, our models were fully clothed.
While we're not going to share the names of the apps or the keywords we use to find them, check out how easy it is to alter a photo. All I have to do is highlight the area I want to change and then type in the instructions, like make nude. It took less than 30 seconds, and frankly, this looks awfully realistic.
What's even more troubling is anyone could access these apps, many for free. While the majority were rated for adults, others were rated for teens, and a few had no age restrictions.
How much responsibility should the companies who run the app stores, Apple and Google, be taking in this situation?
Well, app stores do have a responsibility for the apps that they are making available to the public.
In response to our findings, Google and Apple removed most of the apps we flagged to them and told us they don't allow apps containing explicit content. In a statement, Apple said, "We have proactively rejected many of these apps and removed many others, including when users have flagged them via our reporting tools." Google said, "We've reviewed thousands of apps and suspended hundreds of additional apps for violations of our policies," adding they are not responsible for the age ratings. DeLon says the best advice: talk to your kids.
Ask them questions about how they're using AI. How are their peers using AI? Do they know of a situation like this that has happened in their school or to one of their friends?
Jolene Kent, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Right now, we are under a weather impact alert as we are going to be faced with the widespread threat here of some elevated fire danger. So what you need to know for the day today is I am tracking some dry conditions through this afternoon, gusty winds, and on top of that, the threat that we could see here, some isolated dry lightning. So be prepared for that, especially if you plan to be outside, you're making any outdoor plans. The fire concern that we have is going to last for us through Saturday. This is a look at our convective outlook that is put together by the Storm Prediction Center, and so it is showing all of the areas that have the potential of seeing some thunderstorm activity, with the greater chances actually over in North Idaho. Again, the bigger concerns is going to be with lightning as these storm systems moving through. We could see a few sprinkles here and there, but unfortunately no beneficial wetting rains. So getting into your future tracker and what we're seeing for the day today, we've got some increasing clouds out there across parts of central and eastern Washington, and we have been seeing some showers over parts of the northern Cascades. Moving forward into the afternoon, that's when we'll start to see some of those pop-up cells across eastern Washington, and then it strengthens here some of this instability across eastern Washington and North Idaho by late Saturday night into the early morning hours of Sunday. So we're not going to be out of the woods when it comes to Saturday afternoon and seeing some of those calmer conditions. We still have that potential ramping up late Saturday into Sunday before we give way to mostly clear and sunny skies on Sunday. Of course, the other layer of this does have to do with the elevated winds. So we start to see our winds pick up by Saturday evening by about 5:30 p.m. That's when we'll start to see winds out of the west-southwest, gusts between 25 to up to 40 miles per hour. And those winds remain elevated late Saturday into early Sunday morning, especially across parts of the Cascades and through the lower Palouse areas. So after the sun sets here, we are still going to be seeing those concerns before winds are a little bit calmer and just a little bit breezy on Sunday. Temperatures on Saturday, low 90s across Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. We're still looking at some upper 90s, though, for Richland in the lower Columbia Basin, a high of 96 degrees across Lewiston and Orofino, low 90s up toward Bonners Ferry and Sandpoint. So these temperatures are still above average, but not quite as hot as what we saw yesterday. Here's an extended outlook of what we can expect into this upcoming next week. Conditions are still going to be mostly dry, and we are looking at a warmer trend, especially toward the end of the week. But you can always download and watch for free our live local radar to watch some of this activity moving through Saturday. It's free to download on the KREM 2 app.
We are just weeks away from the first game of the Kirby Moore era in Pullman as the Washington State Cougars continue to improve in fall camp. KREM 2 Sports Director Andrew Quinn spoke with Coach Moore to talk about his return to the Northwest.
First, I'm just super grateful to be back in the Northwest. 3 young kids, family all throughout the area. So we've had a really good off season, really good summer, and just have a great appreciation for everyone on our staff because it takes everyone.
As Coach Moore continues to dive into leading his first fall camp, he is putting a major emphasis on situational football, something he took away from watching last season's Cougs.
There was a lot of opportunities last year in one-score games to make a play, right, and overcome. And so anymore in college football, I think the margins are getting tighter in all conferences, and we want to make sure that we play well under pressure.
The other major emphasis in camp is cleaning up procedure after a penalty-filled first scrimmage of the fall on Saturday.
And if one guy makes the mistake, right, everyone in the room should be learning from it. And that's a really important piece of fall camp. We got to make sure that we're increasing our FBI. And when I say that, that's football intelligence of all the different situations that could come up on offense, defense, special teams. Just because someone's in it, everyone should be learning from that rep.
Moore is ultra active in practice, making sure he is watching reps from each and every positional group, something that has impressed the only former head coach on the WSU staff.
He's done a great job. I mean, he's got good people around him, and I think that's as important as anything. He's got guys that he's put around him to help him with those things. He's obviously got a family that's been through the head coaching thing, and so he's got great people to kind of bounce ideas off of. And I've been impressed with how under control and competent he seems at doing a job he's just started.
And as for that Week 1 trip to Seattle to face the 17th ranked Huskies, Moore is treating it like any other game.
I don't think it's extra pressure. I do think there's very few times in life you get the opportunity to be first, right, to do something, and we're embracing that opportunity and looking forward to it.
Well, the North Idaho State Fair is officially here. Coming up, I take you to the fairgrounds for a sneak peek at all the fun. That's in 2 minutes. Well, the North Idaho State Fair has kicked off, so if you're looking for something fun to do for your Saturday or Sunday, come check out these awesome sea lions. I have Nelson here, who's been doing this for about 5 years. Nelson, tell me a little bit about the shows this weekend, what people can look forward to. Obviously, a lot to see here.
Well, the show is an educational show, so you're going to come to see and learn a lot about the sea lions. For example, many people talk to them like seals. They are not seals, they are sea lions. So we're going to explain to you a little bit about this during the show, about the anatomy, about the life of the sea lions. And plus, of course, they're going to make a lot of tricks. They dance, they sing, they fly in the air. So it's a lot of fun during the show.
It's amazing. Okay, so I see you have some fish in your hands. Why don't you show off some cool things that they're going to see at the shows this week?
They're going to say hi to everybody. First of all, very important, say hi. Yes, girls. You want to show your dance moves? Yeah, there you go. Yes. You want a kitty kiss? Nice, a kitty kiss?
Wow.
Nice kiss. Very friendly.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Now smile for everybody. Smile. Beautiful smile.
Okay, and then one last thing. People can get pictures with the sea lions. I'm going to pose for that picture just to show our audiences. Okay, tell me what. Ready?
Just stand up, up. There you go.
Okay, so you can come to the North Idaho State Fair, get a picture just like this. It's going to be so much fun. You're going to meet Nelson and these three guys here. So anyways, all weekend, come check out these awesome sea lions. So much to look forward to. Well, we've still got lots more fun on Up with KREM, new in 15 minutes. Why your next trip through the produce aisle could be a lot more expensive. The items to watch out for ahead.
Just memories. That's all we can hold on to now.
Ahead on Up with KREM, families sifting through the ashes, collecting what little remains after the Spokane area fires, how organizations are offering a helping hand. And Spokane Public Schools are trying out a balanced calendar for the first time this school year, why they say it could be better for students learning. And have you already picked out a backpack for the school year? Well, make sure you don't overfill it. Tips to avoid back pain this year. Good morning here on Up with KREM and happy weekend. Happy Saturday. I'm Regan Gallo. We're going to get to weather first and foremost here with Jenny Power in studio. Jenny, what should we expect as people start making their plans and all the fun activities, especially right before back to school?
I know, Regan, right? We have many folks trying to soak up the last little bits of summer, but today we are under a weather impact alert as winds are going to be picking up this afternoon. It will be dry, and we even have the threat of some dry lightning. So we need to be extra fire weather aware because we could see the risk of increased fire danger. What's happening weather-wise is the system is moving through, and so it's leading to some instability across the inland northwest. This is a look at our convective outlook for the day today, where it's put together by the Storm Prediction Center, and it's showing the greater chances of seeing some of this storm activity across North Idaho and into western Montana. One of the other big things to watch here as we move forward is going to have to do with these elevated winds. The winds really start picking up as we head into this late afternoon, early evening. Winds out of the west-southwest here at about 25 to 40 miles per hour. So that's a concern when it comes to the potential of new fires starting and spreading, and then also the containment on existing fires. Winds remain elevated in the overnight. We'll watch out for some of those isolated storms, and on top of it, temperatures are going to be hot and above average. Low 90s for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, so slightly cooler than yesterday, but still going to be hot. The full timing of the rest of the system, though, in just a few minutes. Regan?
Jenny, thank you so much. Well, the Environmental Protection Agency is starting to send crews to properties affected by the Spokane area fires. They will be spending the next few weeks helping get rid of hazardous materials in the rubble. KREM 2's Christian Garza met one family starting the cleanup process before the EPA gets there.
Get that one flipped over.
Burnt jewelry and pieces of porcelain china.
This is just stuff we got out. And that's what matters.
That's all that's left of Pat and Brenda Konechny's house of over 4 decades.
It's just memories that is all we can hold on to now.
Spending hours grieving what they lost as they face the reality of what needs to happen next.
Neighbors greeted us, we all hugged, we all cried. And then we got to work. Trying to find something, and there wasn't much to find here.
As families in these affected areas continue to clean what they can, the Environment Protection Agency is stepping in to help make sure no household hazardous materials have been left behind, clearing materials like paint, chemicals, and lithium batteries.
I think after today, I'm going to say it's good, but there's nothing here we really need.
Despite coming to the conclusion that life as they know it is over in Spokane, the Konechnys still managed to find a glimmer of hope inside the destruction.
Yeah, you can see the cross there. That was the first thing we kind of focused on when we came, was the cross. And then to us it was like, everything's gonna be okay. God has us in his hands.
Just as a reminder, the EPA is only here to clean up those hazardous materials. They're not going to clean up any sort of ash or burnt structures. For families starting the long road to recovery, the Spokane Region Long-Term Recovery Group has a website full of links that you can follow. In Spokane County, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Well, back to school is coming earlier for students in Spokane Public Schools. This is actually the final weekend of summer break. I can't believe that. I had a chance to talk with SPS Superintendent Dr. Adam Swinward about the reasons for the change.
There were a handful of reasons. One is summer's pretty long, and there's a lot of learning regression that can happen in the summer. So that was one reason. Another reason was, we're starting to see really significant levels of staff and student absenteeism. And this is a strategy to see, well, if we have more intermittent breaks, does that give people to rest, recover? Are we going to see less absences because of illness? And so that's a factor. And also it provides a really, I think, conducive window of time for what we call instructional cycles. I'm going to teach this concept for 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm going to assess where kids are, teach the content, assess it at the end of those 6 to 8 weeks, and then there's this opportunity to step away, and then when we come back, we're starting a new concept.
Okay. You can watch that full interview with Dr. Swinward right now on the KREM 2 app. We'll talk more about the schedule changes, busing, and navigating back to school after the Spokane fires. Just scan the QR code to download the KREM 2 app and watch for free. And while most students carry a backpack to school each day, and sometimes those bags look about as big as the child. Well, experts say, though, carrying too much weight for wearing the bag the wrong way can lead to strains. So instead of slinging a strap over one shoulder, wear both straps of the backpack. Don't let it hang low. The backpack should reach the small of your child's back. And if there's a strap to fasten, that will also help secure it. And don't overload the bag. It should not exceed more than 10% of the child's body weight.
We want to be thoughtful about not overloading them, because similar to adults, if they're carrying too heavy a weight on their back, they could be at risk for neck strain or back strain or those sorts of uncomfortable things.
It's also a good idea to have your student clean out their backpack at the end of each day to help them avoid carrying around supplies they don't need.
We are in back to school season right now, and the Up with KREM team wants to see your back to school shout out. So what is a back to school shout out? Well, these are actually going to air on our show starting next week. They're about a 20-second or less clip, and I invited our producers, Kelsey and Adriana, to join us to show you an example. What you'll want to do is introduce yourself, then give the shout out. And you'll want to also record it horizontally. So we're actually going to do this right now.
We are Kelsey and Adriana. We want to give a very special shout out to Jenny Power for going back to school. Woo!
Okay, and here's a look at the final product.
We are Kelsey and Adriana. We want to give a very special shout out to Jenny Power for going back to school. Woo!
Once you finish the final video, be sure to email it to me at tfam@krem.com. Welcome back to school.
Well, this week, the Spokane County Commissioners unanimously passed a resolution that pauses any development of data centers in the county for now. The vote means the county's building and planning departments would stop accepting or processing applications for data centers while new rules are written. Well, right now, the county is defining a large load data center as one requiring at least 20 megawatts of electrical capacity. Under the proposed rules, developers would show they have enough power and water to operate. The county says the goal is to balance the economic benefits of data centers with concerns about their demands on power, water, and other natural resources. Some community members say they are concerned about the environmental impacts. Well, it's not just people who are feeling the effects of the Spokane area fires. Pets are too. The signs that your furry friend might be anxious and how one Spokane group can help. And later, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey keeps breaking records. We'll talk about the film's latest achievement ahead.
The Spokane area fires have taken a toll on our entire community, and that includes our four-legged family members. Pets can experience fear, anxiety, and trauma just like people do. So I have Megan and Jessica with Lake Top Creek Animal Hospital with us here this morning. Good morning. Thanks so much for being here, and thanks so much for caring for the animals. You know, I don't think this is a topic that people really think about. Obviously, the devastation was terrible for families, but it was also really hard on pets too. Tell us more about that.
So we are offering these clinics to help bring awareness to the fact that pets have mental health and very traumatic situations like this causes them stress as well, just like it does on their owners. And then, you know, we look to these pets to help be our emotional support.
Right.
And so
they need it too.
They need it too. And so we are offering these clinics to help those pets feel a little bit more relaxed through this traumatic experience.
And Megan, I love the name. It's called Fearless Together. That's the name of the clinics.
Yes.
There's another one happening this weekend. Tell us what it's all about.
So we want to help these pets with their mental health, both in the short and long term. So they can get calming medications, again, short, and we can talk about long term because it has uncovered some of this underlying anxiety that some pets have had, just like trauma can in people, as well as we're offering behavior support as well.
Talk about the stories you've heard. You've already helped serve some people with pets affected by the fires. What have you heard from people, and what did those pets experience?
Well, one of my favorites was the cats that we saw who, you know, as you know, when cats get scared, you kind of have to get them out, maybe kind of roughly, to save their life.
Yeah.
And so they were all terrified in temporary housing, and we were able to help them with medications to kind of help them relax.
Yeah.
You want to talk about one of the dogs we saw?
Yeah, and we're hearing stories of owners were away from their house when the evacuation orders came through, so they had to get in there and get their pets out, and the sirens, the alarms, the smoke detectors, everything's going off, and so then when they got into their house, of course their dogs were in a big panic.
A lot of people also, you know, maybe if they weren't directly impacted by the fires, but they want to help support the animals. What are some ways that people can support you guys and what you're doing right now if they want to support? Are you accepting donations, or is there a place that we can point people to?
We're not accepting donations. We've gotten some really great donations from our vendors and stuff that support us.
Great.
Really just helping spread the word.
Great.
That pets have mental health and that their mental health matters also, and that we are willing to help them with that.
Okay, and one more time, tell us about the clinic happening this weekend, Fearless Together Wildfire Calming Clinics.
So it is going to be on Saturday from 8 to 12 and Sunday 10 to 2. And there's links on our Instagram page you can sign up, or you can go to our website and sign up. The form is very easy. It just asks some basic questions. We do ask for appointments because we do want to make sure we can keep everything calm at the clinic for them.
Well, thank you again for what you all are doing for the animals. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And this is going to be a really great thing. So again, if you know someone that has a pet that was impacted by the fires, definitely reach out to Lake Tahoe Creek Animal Hospital. All right, we'll be right back.
Well, we've got more ahead. Produce prices are on the rise, which items might give you sticker shock on your next grocery trip. Well, in the last year, prices in the produce aisle have gone up, and there are a variety of reasons for that. The latest food item that could cost more, strawberries. Jen Sullivan explains why.
Strawberries could soon get a lot more expensive, leaving shoppers seeing red when it comes to the price. And it has to do with possible tariffs.
An independent agency came in and they said that the imports from Mexico are hurting U.S. growers.
The Trump administration is now looking into whether Mexican growers are setting unfairly low prices and whether they should implement tariffs. Here's why that could drive up the cost. 98% of strawberries sold in the U.S. last year came from Mexico, with shipments worth more than $1 billion. Shoppers saw tomato prices skyrocket earlier this year because of tariffs. Tomato prices were 12.8% higher last month than a year ago, according to the latest Consumer Price Index report. But that wasn't the only contributing factor. Freezing temperatures in parts of Florida during the first 2 months of this year also played a role because much of the tomato crop was destroyed. Items in the produce aisle are already very vulnerable to price fluctuations because of extreme weather. Throw in tariffs, and it can make prices even worse.
You're dealing with supply and demand issues every single day in the fresh food business.
Stu Leonard is the owner of Stu Leonard's grocery stores in the New York tri-state area. He says for businesses, it's really hard to offset costs when items like tomatoes or strawberries go way up.
It's really challenging. And you know what? Here's basically what every single retailer across the country would agree with me on. If you raise prices, guess what happens to sale? They go down.
The good news is that tomato prices have already come down a lot. And as far as strawberries, the Commerce Department is expected to release its preliminary finding in the strawberry case by August 18th. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
New this week, Walmart says some of its almost $3 billion worth of tariff refunds will go towards price cuts. The retailer says money will also go to supporting investments that affect the customer experience. The refund stems from a February Supreme Court ruling declaring most of President Donald Trump's duties illegal in total. The government is working to refund about $168 billion to about 330,000 retailers.
Right now, we are under a weather impact alert as we are going to be faced with the widespread threat here of some elevated fire danger. So what you need to know for the day today is I am tracking some dry conditions through this afternoon, gusty winds, and on top of that, the threat that we could see here, some isolated dry lightning. So be prepared for that, especially if you plan to be outside, you're making any outdoor plans. The fire concern that we have is going to last for us through Saturday. This is a look at our convective outlook that is put together by the Storm Prediction Center, and so it is showing all of the areas that have the potential of seeing some thunderstorm activity, with the greater chances actually over in North Idaho. Again, the bigger concerns is going to be with lightning as these storm systems moving through. We could see a few sprinkles here and there, but unfortunately no beneficial wetting rains. So getting into your future tracker and what we're seeing for the day today, we've got some increasing clouds out there across parts of central and eastern Washington, and we have been seeing some showers over parts of the northern Cascades. Moving forward into the afternoon, that's when we'll start to see some of those pop-up cells across eastern Washington, and then it strengthens here, some of this instability across eastern Washington and North Idaho by late Saturday night into the early morning hours of Sunday. So we're not going to be out of the woods when it comes to Saturday afternoon and seeing some of those calmer conditions. We still have that potential ramping up late Saturday into Sunday Sunday before we give way to mostly clear and sunny skies on Sunday. Of course, the other layer of this does have to do with the elevated winds. So we start to see our winds pick up by Saturday evening by about 5:30 p.m. That's when we'll start to see winds out of the west-southwest, gusts between 25 to up to 40 miles per hour. And those winds remain elevated late Saturday into early Sunday morning, especially across parts of the Cascades and through the lower Palouse areas. So after the sun sets here, we are still going to be seeing those concerns before winds are a little bit calmer and just a little bit breezy on Sunday. Temperatures on Saturday, low 90s across Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. We're still looking at some upper 90s, though, for Richland in the lower Columbia Basin, a high of 96 degrees across Lewiston and Orofino, low 90s up toward Bonners Ferry and Sandpoint. So these temperatures are still above average, but not quite as hot as what we saw yesterday. Here's an extended outlook of what we can expect into this upcoming next week. Conditions are still going to be mostly dry, and we are looking at a warmer trend, especially toward the end of the week. But you can always download and watch for free our live local radar to watch some of this activity moving through Saturday. It's free to download on the KREM 2 app.
Well, transitions to new schools and grade levels, unfamiliar routines, new teachers and classmates, all of these things and more can pack pressure onto students. But the signs of emotional stress may look different in children and teens than it does in adults. Here are the red flags to watch out for.
Stress is a part of everyday life, and for students, school can feel overwhelming. But experts say children may not yet have the words to explain what's going on.
It's really up to us to give them the language they need to be able to communicate what they're experiencing, and then also teaching them the coping skills to go along with that.
Jody Baumstein with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says signs of stress can be different in children than in adults. She says to think of their behavior as communication. That may include changes in sleep habits, either snoozing too much or not well at all, shifts in diet, maybe they're eating more than usual or don't have an appetite. There may also be persistent stomach aches and headaches with no clear medical cause. Baumstein says they may suddenly withdraw from friends and activities they once loved, or simply not talk as much. There may be mood shifts that don't fit with their usual behavior.
So it might on the surface present as anger. They're lashing out a lot, but often that can be secondary. And what's primary might be the real root of it might be something like overwhelm or feeling guilty about something.
Instead of reacting to the behavior, Baumstein recommends parents delve deeper into the cause of it without judgment or interpretation. Ask open-ended questions and validate what they're feeling.
You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to know what that feels like to validate. You can just say it makes sense. It's normal and okay for you to feel that way.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Have you watched The Odyssey in theaters? I have. Well, then you helped the film break this record. We'll explain in 2 minutes. Well, the weekend is the perfect time to head to the movie theater. And if you're a movie fan, chances are you've already seen this one. What is it? Well, it's The Odyssey. And The Odyssey keeps breaking records. The latest one, it's now the highest grossing R-rated movie ever worldwide. I saw it. I did not realize it was rated R, Jenny.
It's kind of crazy, though, to think about. I mean, this movie has really exploded. The Christopher Nolan epic has reached $1.35 billion in global grosses. That surpasses the previous record holder, which was 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine, which tapped out at $1.33 billion.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, you saw it. I saw it. What did you think of it, Regan?
I really liked it, and I went straight home, and me and my husband went and watched Troy. So we had to watch the movie from 20 years ago because we were kind of in that Trojan War vibe. So that's what we did. What about you, Jenny?
Yes, I really liked it. I thought that it was really well done, and I would seriously watch it again. But I'll wait for it to be like on streaming.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the prices, popcorn, everything, it adds up.
It does. It totally does.
Alrighty. So if it's a little bit too hot outside this weekend, that might be a good thing to go do. Maybe.
Yes. Yeah. No, I definitely think so. Temperatures are going to be in the 90s, so staying inside with air conditioning is a good idea.
Alrighty, everyone, have a great Saturday. We'll be back tomorrow on Up with KREM for your Sunday. Thanks for watching.